Hey there, BookTube. Noah. Everyone who reads and must converse is the channel. Today is the second part of a five-part series going through Roberto Bolano's 2666. Why five parts? Well, because this book is broken up into five parts. And this is the second part, the part about Amalfitano. Amalfitano is a character that we met at the end, the latter parts of the first part of this book, the part about the critics. And the second part is all about him. And I mean him personally. We meet, we find out what he's about and a little bit of his life, like his backstory and all this kind of thing. And I can see that this book doesn't hesitate to just change it up, switch it up. The second part is very, very different than what we have come in contact with already in the first part. So, Amalfitano. Amalfitano is a philosophy professor and scholar that had met up with our critics and is the one that has the story of a friend of his in Santa Teresa, Mexico, which is, I believe, like on the border, near the border of United States and Mexico, but on the California, New Mexico side. So more closer to the Pacific side of Mexico, right? Now, this city is a hellhole, for lack of a better word. It's just very dark and kind of scary. And I believe that we're inching towards more of those depths that Santa Teresa is has as part of the attribute of that city. Amalfitano is living there, and it's kind of unclear why. He had always lived in Barcelona, I believe, in Spain, and moved to Santa Teresa to practice, to be a professor, things like that. Now, Amalfitano has an ex-wife or a wife that has otherwise left him. Maybe they're not, legally separated, but she has left, and she was uh, obsessed with this poet, with this writer, and is going to, you know, the insane asylum where this writer is at, and hanging out and living as a homeless person in order to obsessively pursue maybe a relationship with this writer, whatever kind of thing it could be. And it's very, very strange to, like, leave your family, leave your daughter. They have a daughter. Her name is I always want to get it wrong. I want to say Ruby, but it's not, I don't believe. I think it's sorry. I always just kind of lose the name of the daughter because the daughter is there. Lola is the wife, and Rosa, that's her name. So Rosa is cared for just by Amalfitano, and he is for all intents and purposes, a single father. Amalfitano becomes obsessed with this kind of book, and it is a geometry book, but in the geometric spaces, like on the points of a shape, a piece of geometry, there will be philosophers' names and things like that. And it's just strange. It starts off strange, but not nearly as strange as it ends up, let me tell you. Because Amalfitano is pretty much descending into a sort of madness. And it's not clear why. It's not really explained what is going on or reasons why. You just kind of glean these things from the text itself. It's done very, very well, and I think it's intentional completely how this thing plays out. But he's obsessed with this geometry book, and he has it sitting out on the clothesline. And it's kind of like an art versus nature kind of thing. He wants to see how this book holds up against the elements. And there's a lot of talk about the elements, the wind, for example, coming and blowing through the pages of the book, through the clothes on the clothesline, things like that. And this book is just in its own battle, as far as Amalfitano is concerned, with the elements to remain a strong binding or whatever. It's just weird. But Amalfitano is aware, and as any parent would be aware, especially a single father of a daughter, in Santa Teresa, of the murders. This is a cultural phenomenon almost in Mexico, where there is an unbelievable amount of murders of young women going on at this time. It's like, the society would uh, have uprising against the government not doing anything about it. There are protests. Amalfitano's daughter Rosa is involved in a protest at some point in this, because it is just unbelievable. Now, we don't hear a lot of specifics. It's just kind of said like that, but it contributes to part of this, the subtext of why we see Amalfitano going through what he's going through, because he actually starts hearing a voice. And this voice is having conversation with him, and he is having conversation back. And it is very unsettling, very weird. And you're just like, you're like, wait, you, you're going crazy, man. You know, get help, something like this. But Amalfitano is not completely aware of his own descent in that kind of way, and he becomes obsessively digging into another book. This is a book on the history, I believe, of the Chilean people. And so the history of the Chileans, the indigenous Chileans from before, um, Spanish conquistadors came to South America and Central America, right? That and the story, the legend is that these Chileans, these indigenous population, could um, telepathically communicate, and telepathically communicate over an extremely long uh, area, even the whole world. So the Chileans were wonderful seafarers, is the story. Went even as far as like Papua New Guinea, across the Pacific, many islands in the Pacific, things like that, and that they were all in communication with each other. So there's this kind of, I guess, a justification in some kind of way that I'm not going crazy. This is something special. This is something that is special. There is things that we don't know about. Telepathic communication, for example. So since I'm experiencing it, something like that, maybe I'm not crazy. I'm special. That's the kind of feel that I get from it. This section was very short. This section was very, very strange and weird. And in the way that in the first section, I saw that, Roberto Bolano is was exploring intellectualism, intellectual, intellectually minded people that kind of handle their life in a very rational, rationalistic kind of bent in how they make their decisions and things like that. But then you will have these motivations that are coming from like dreams and nightmares. So he's juxtaposing the rational and the inherently irrational, something that comes up from the subconscious or unconscious. And in the second part there, it's kind of like reality versus delusion. What is Amalfitano's real uh, place in this world, and why? Why is he where he's at? Why does he choose to stay there? And this kind of thing. It is very, very unsettling. There is a lot of dark imagery, just in the way that things are said in this section here. Just in the illustrations of ways that things are described is very, very unsettling, and they just kind of come out of nowhere at the reader. You don't really expect it, and you're not really, um, you know, you're not really understanding why use those words, why use that. So, just to give an example, all right, he's having a conversation with his voice. He hears someone starting a car. The engine took a while to turn over, and he got up and he went over to the window. He is Amalfitano. The cars parked out in front of the house were empty. He looked behind him and then he put his hand on the doorknob. The voice said, "Be careful," but said it as if it were very far away, at the bottom of a ravine, revealing glimpses of volcanic rock, rhyolites, adensites, streaks of silver and gold, petrified puddles covered with tiny little eggs, where red-tailed hawks soared above the sky, which was purple, like the skin of an Indian woman beaten to death. What? You know? Like, uh, why? You know? The sky was purple. I get it. But is it inherently a type of purple that is you know, an Indian woman that has been beaten to death? Is that, it's just the kind of things that are happening here are subtle, and it is a hallmark of a very high level writer. It is wonderful reading. It is beautiful language, and these kind of things just kind of stick with you. They get under your skin. And so I'm enjoying it. And now off to part 3, the part about fate, right? Catch you on the next one, book 2. Bye bye.